Morning, everybody. This is Darren from In a Darkened Room, broadcasting live from one of my rooms in my house where I have a lot of music stored here. And today we're going to be talking about, should you invest in gold, as in gold-plated CDs. There's been several companies over the years that have put out special editions, collector's editions that were plated in gold. There's a couple of companies throughout the years that's all they do. Is gold-plated 24 karat gold CDs. One of them is no longer with us, DCC, which was my favorite CD company of all time. Everything on that label was mastered by Steve Hoffman, who works for another audiophile label called Audio Fidelity now. If you see anything with Steve Hoffman's name on it, masterful. It's great. It's always going to be good. And then Sony has done some limited editions over the years, and also Warner Brothers and Atlantic. So there's been tons of companies that have delved into this. But the premier gold CD company of all time is Mobile Fidelity, and they started pressing gold CDs sometime in the 80s. And I want to go over a few that I think are really good. Before we get to that, I want to talk just for a second about, does a disc sound better just because it is pressed and plated in gold? And in my opinion, it does not. It has nothing to do with the material that a disc is made with. So in other words, I've had masterings that were silver, aluminum, the same exact mastering that was gold. When I compared them, they sounded identical. So in my opinion, and there's going to be people on the internet that probably feel differently, the material which a disc is made has no measurable impact on how the disc sounds. That's my opinion. All right, but I do want to go over some great sounding Mobile Fidelity titles. If you run across them, I highly recommend them. The titles that I'm going to present to you are ones that have lots of different editions out here. I have determined, in my opinion, to my ears, these are the best sounding versions. I'm not going to forget them. I usually forget them all the time. Hall & Oates Voices. If you hear this or see this, you will want to own it because it is most excellent. See how it's gold there? Fantastic album and an amazing sounding version right here on the Mobile Fidelity Gold. Elton John, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. Once again, you know the album. It's fantastic. This edition right here is absolutely killer. By the way, most of the ones that I'm going to pick are the early Mobile Fidelity releases from the 80s that were made in Japan. And once again, pressing plants, to my knowledge, do not affect how something sounds, but they just happen to be the earlier ones that I tend to gravitate towards. Lynyrd Skynyrd, Second Helping. Once again, a great release, great album, of course, and it sounds amazing on this particular edition. Tom Petty, Damn the Torpedoes. Once again, a really great sounding disc from Mobile Fidelity. If you run into this, I highly recommend it. Santana, Abraxas. Now, there's about a blue million different versions of Abraxas out there. I've heard them all. I own them all. This is by far the best sounding one. In fact, Mobile Fidelity went to great lengths to make sure they had the original master tape to do this edition from. They rejected several tapes that they could have mastered the disc from until they got the one they wanted. This is it. Fantastic. Boz Scaggs, Silk Degrees. Of course, has Low Down and the Lido Shuffle. Has that nice flat 70 sound. Doesn't get much better than this in the audio department. Wonderful. One of the best sounding discs I've ever heard right here. Supertramp, Crime of the Century, just recorded and engineered flawlessly from the get-go. But this version will knock you out. It is so good. If you run into this, highly recommend it. And last, but certainly not least, this right here. Stevie Wonder, Intervisions. Once again, that's been reissued on other audiophile labels and stuff, but this is the one right here. And this was the original master copy presented by Stevie Wonder for this release, and they basically just took it, hit record, and dubbed it straight to this. This is the closest thing you're going to get to the original source, and it is fantastic. So there you go. There's a few titles there. I highly recommend if you run into them. It won't, even if it does bleed your bank account, it's worth it. Great titles there. Thanks to everyone who supports the channel, who's liked and subscribed to our videos. We got a new video coming out tomorrow, premiering on the year 1983. So that's a lot of fun. And thanks for all the support, everybody. We really appreciate it.